What's up, Twitch? Ben42 here. I got another Twitch tips / streaming tips video for you today. We talked about this before, but I want to talk about it again and just dedicate a full video to it. So, how to talk to an empty chat. So, we've all had this experience. You're streaming, you got no chatters. Maybe you had no chatters from the very get-go, or maybe it's toward the end of your stream and nobody's chatting, nobody's engaging, and you're having a hard time keeping up with the topics, a hard time keeping people engaged. So here's 3 little tips for you just to give you some ideas on how to talk to an empty chat, okay? So basically, number 1, we talked about this before. The easiest thing to do if you're playing a video game is to talk about the game. Just narrate what you're doing. I mean, that is much better than having dead air in your stream, in my opinion. And we see this a lot with new streamers and just any streamer, really. They're just dead silent. I think it's much better, even though you don't think what you're saying is very interesting, and it may not be. You could try to make it interesting, but talk about your game. Narrate what you're doing. If you pick up a weapon, say, oh, hey, I like this weapon. You could go into detail about the weapon. You could go into detail about what's happening actually in the game with your team. Whatever, just pretty much narrate completely what you're doing, and that will really help you. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, if you can't talk about your game anymore, you're having trouble, we could resort to talking about random stuff, current events. You could bring up a topic, I would not be afraid to bring up what's happening on the news. Just be careful. I don't like to dabble in politics or religion or anything. Those are controversial topics. But maybe you saw a movie over the weekend and you want to talk about how you just saw the Avengers. So you could start talking about that. If somebody's watching you, which there usually is always somebody watching you guys, you have to pretend that there is anyway, even if there's 0 viewers. You have to pretend because the viewer is on a delay anyway. But talk about how you saw the Avengers, how you loved it, this, that, and the other. And then maybe someone who's watching you is going to engage with that. They're going to say, oh, I saw the Avengers too. And they're going to start chatting. And then you can start up a nice little conversation, engage your viewers that way. So anything you could really think of, whatever you just did recently, you went for a walk with your dog's sick, I don't know. It's better than dead air, and if you can't talk about the game, talk about current events / whatever's happening to you in that certain week. And then my last tip, I've never used this before, but I thought it was a pretty good idea. I don't really have trouble with this, I don't think, but if you're really having, trouble coming up with stuff, have stuff prepared. If you are really, you can't think on the spot, which a lot of us have that problem, have a list of stuff prepared for you to talk about, and you could refer to that list and say, oh yeah, that's right, maybe I could talk about how my sister is dating this guy or something, and I don't know, maybe or how the Avengers was awesome, or how I saw this movie, or just whatever. Have the stuff written down that may help you. I don't use that, but I think it might be helpful to some people that really can't think on the spot. You can just get a random topic. Sometimes I get lost as well. So I hope these tips helped you out a little bit, gave you something to think about. And just remember, a dead air in a chat, I think, is not good in this Twitch environment. I don't think it's not gonna help you. You gotta always kind of be talking. And I think I almost talk too much. And I think that's really important that you do talk too much. You stay talking throughout your stream no matter what it is. If you think it's a boring thing, you got to keep talking no matter what. So I hope these 3 tips helped you, and we'll see you in the next Twitch tips video.